Hello, Numa282 here, and welcome to a tier list video. I know I've been kind of MIA for the last, I think it's like 20 days is what it told me. There's been a lot of things happening in my personal life, not stuff that I'm going to really get into here because, frankly, it's not necessary. It's just there's been just some personal and medical things that I've had to take care of, and unfortunately it's left very little time for content creation. And even the moments I had time, I wasn't really in the place to make content, at least not have fun while doing it. As I've said before, I don't make anywhere near, and I don't make any money doing YouTube, so when it's not fun, I'm gonna take the breaks I need to take. So I appreciate anybody who does stick with me during those moments. Thank you for anyone who, if anybody watches and was missing me, thank you. But yeah, so we're gonna go ahead and do a Baldur's Gate 3 companion tier list. Now, I'm using the term companion loosely. Most people would consider companions anyone that you can have as a like valid party member, and I do get that. I've stretched a little bit to add more characters to this list, and just characters that I personally think are companions, whether I think that means in battle or that just means at the campsite. And there's even some characters that would fit this criteria that I left off, like Little Orphan Annie that you pick up in the city. But if there's somebody I missed, or there's somebody you think should be on here or shouldn't be on here, let me know. Be nice, constructive, and then if you really hate it, make your own video. There's an idea. Also new hair. It's super was super faded up until like 3 days ago. The lovely Lindsay, as you guys know, the grand fiance of our buddy, your narrator. She is my hairstylist, and she did this. We got bold, so we went a little bit of pink and blues. It's supposed to be the initial intention was more cotton candy, which it will fade to a more pastel, like a lighter pastel, but we kind of got jewel tones, and I don't hate it. I kind of love it. So here we are. But all right, so let's go ahead and dive in. So first on our list, it is probably going to be it goes alphabetically. So we're already starting off the list with someone who doesn't really count as a companion, but I think they should have been a companion, and there's a multitude of reasons why. It's Alfira, the wondrous tiefling bard. Probably one of my favorite characters in the game. The Alfira, I think it's a lot more of a spotlight in the Dark Urge campaign. I won't say anything about that, but if you've played the Dark Urge campaign, you understand that. It very much feels like Alfira was meant to be a full-blown companion, and that it brings to the attention the issue that I have, which is we have no bards. We have no bard companions, and I think that is, I play a bard. That's my primary thing, so it wasn't like there was a need for one, and technically you can respec any of your primary companions, but I really just think that Alfira would have been a solid addition to the group, and another great romance storyline would have been awesome. I'm gonna be real. Alfira goes into decent. She's almost god tier. What denotes her is her inability to be in your party. That is what denotes her. So next we have Asterion. Now I'm conflicted when it comes to Asterion, because he's very sexy and he's very cool, and he has a really good story and a really good he can have a really good redemption arc in terms of just his personal philosophies, but he's also pretentious and rude and manipulative, but hates being manipulated. So it's a very and he's a walking red flag. And I know everyone knows that. Everyone's aware of it. We just ignore it. I'm gonna put him at the end of decent for now. There is a good chance he's gonna get bumped down to super okay. Next, we have Boo, god tier. So, for those of you who don't know, there is a character named Minsk, which we will get to later. He's on this list. He is accompanied by what he calls a miniature gigantic space hamster. Now, I think Minsk and Boo are actually primary players in D&D lore. I believe they're reoccurring characters from Baldur's Gate 1 and 2. I don't know. But I love Boo. Boo is great. He is the only animal you cannot communicate with with animal speech, which kind of leans more into Minsk being like actually telling the truth when it comes to Boo being like some godlike being. And he's a summonable, which I think is super cool. I love him to death. He's just a giant hamster, but like, well, on the field he's a giant hamster. In his actual character, he's regular hamster sized. So, but I love him. He's going in God tier. If you don't like it, sue me. I really don't care. Okay, next we have Dame Aelin. I can't talk too much about Dame Aelin without spoiling certain parts of the story, so I'm just going to kind of give out the basics. She's a very strong-willed woman. Definitely gives the muscle mommy vibes. I do love that about her. She's just a little much for me. I think she's cool. Companion-wise, she's really powerful. She honestly is better when not controlled by me, because I think there's a time when you get to control her and she's like almost a full-fledged member of your party. I don't remember, if I'm being honest. I'm putting her in super okay. She is cool as a catalyst for other character storylines, and that is what she is there for me. Now, you may love Dame Aelin. You may. Next, we have Gail. I am gonna put Gail at the bottom of God tier. Yes, he goes below Boo. I love Gail. Gail was my first love in this game. He was the first person I romanced. And he was also the person I romanced when I played the early access. I do love him. He's a great fighter too if you spec him right. Like his AoE spells are just to die for. My issue with Gail is he is a thirsty guy, and I get it. Literally, the jokes online is like, you'll be in the middle of like a romance scene with another character and Gail's just in the corner being like, what are we? Like, he gets attached. You can accidentally romance Gail, and it's so funny because I've seen it happen to so many people. My thing with Gail though is, even when you are romancing him, there's a very good, like, his story wraps up so well if you get his best ending, but it requires some really specific things to happen and some awful things to happen. That the awful things I'm not willing, because I'm just not willing, and I can't get into it because once again, I really don't want to spoil a lot of stuff. But basically, the thing with Gail is he is such a great character, but loving him comes with stipulations that are deal breakers for me. However, he will always be the first person that I was like, oh, I'm romancing him. He's great, and he is so funny and sweet, and a man after my own heart. But now we got to get into the man that stole my heart, just out of nowhere. His words, not mine, Daddy Halsin, and he is top of God tier. Romancing him, I'm redoing my main run. Like I basically recreated my character, and I'm redoing my main run, and I'm romancing him in this run because he is my true love. He's great. He is absolutely a fantastic character. He's such a compelling character because he has both this old soul but youthful soul at the same time. He cares so much and like for what his thing is. You know, he is trying to cure the shadow curse in the Shadowfell lands. Basically, he is determined, and once you complete that kind of quest line, once you help him achieve his goal, he is there. He is yours 100%. He commits himself to your cause, and I think that is so amazing. Absolutely love Halsin, and he is just a buff half elf, which is great. I think he's a half elf. He's buff. That's the end of the story. He's just buff, and I'm in love with him. He gets all the skimpy outfits. Actually, all the men do. Who am I kidding? I have the women dressed in full, respectable, sexy clad, like, armor that leaves too much to the imagination, but they're just so powerful. And then the men are like, it's Mortal Kombat. We're just flipping the roles at this point, So I love it. But yeah, Halsin, Daddy Halsin, my arch druid, love, top of God tier. Now we have another one that's not really a companion, but I consider her to be companion level, at least importance to the story, is Isabelle. Now, you meet Isabelle in Act 2. She is a primary player in both your good and evil kind of playthroughs in Act 2. She is helping protect a lot of people from the curse in the Shadowfell land. I love Isabelle. I like her better than Dame Aelin, and from what I understand, from at least what I did, Isabelle's never truly a partner. You do fight alongside her, I think, for at least one battle, but I love her. I think personality-wise, I'm going... Right now, she's behind Asterion, but I keep kind of flipping back and forth. I do love Isabelle. She's a really cool cleric. I think she would have been really great to have as a secondary cleric option, personally. Yeah, I think she's a cleric. I don't think she's a paladin. I believe she's a cleric. But the thing about her, her connection to the story, which I will not spoil, is really nice, and I really like how they kind of wrap her into the story. And her relationship with Dame Aelin is phenomenal. I really like the two of them and how they play off of each other. I just wish she had more of a role in the act, like in the main, like the primary of it. I wish she was like Alfira. She should have been a companion member. Yeah, I absolutely adore her so much, and her little back and forth with Shadowheart is so good. Like it's just such a cool back and forth, and I really like it. And also, she's like this like goth, but like priestess of light, like so cool. Just I love it. Next, we have Jaheira. Now, Jaheira is going at the top of decent for me. Jaheira is phenomenal. She's a great character. I love her. I love her a lot. I think she's a strong fighter. She is another character that I believe is from the previous Baldur's Gate games. I have not played any Baldur's Gate or Divinity games. This is my first like foray into it. I do plan on trying them out. I know it's going to be really difficult to try it to like play through them, but I'm going to do it. But I love her. She's such a cool and just compelling character. She is another druid, which I had an issue with. I don't think we needed another druid. I feel like, because in my main playthrough, I multi-classed her as a monk, but now in my new playthrough, I'm multi-classing Asterion as a monk, so she may get multi-classed as a ranger. Yeah, I think I might, or maybe even a paladin. I don't know, because she's going to stay a druid for the most part, because it is a part of her character. You know, she is a druid. But, she's just such an interesting character. I like that her go-to transformation is the Panther. I think that's really cool. You learn so much more about her kind of surroundings and family when you get to the city, and I think it's one of the more compelling side quests, and I really do love her as a character, and she's a big reason for how you get Minsc and Boo in the party. At least the way I played, that's how it was. So I adore Jaheira. She is going to be at the top of decent for me. And I know I said I was going to possibly do this. Asterian's going to go behind Isabelle, and he's going to go above Dame Aelin, but he's going into super okay. I'm going to have so many Asterion lovers. If anybody who watches this loves Asterion, you can yell at me. I get it. I do. Okay, next we have the mother herself. We have Carlock. Carlock is god tier. Everything about her, you know what? I think I like her more than Gail. I do. Also, I think I was giving Boo a little too much credit now that I'm like looking at it. I do love Boo as a character, but I don't know if Boo deserves to be in god tier, so I'm gonna move him down. I'm gonna put him behind Jaheira, actually. Just completely changing my ranking for Boo, but whatever. So but yeah, no, so back to Carlock. So Carlock is such just an absolute state. The only reason she is not on my team anymore is because Halsin filled her spot. Like, Halsin filled the spot, because Owlbear Halsin is just an Owlbear druid is so good to have. But when it comes to Carlock, I absolutely love her story. I wish it was a little less tragic in terms of just like, you know, that was the biggest complaint is her. There's not a lot of options when it comes to her endings, and not a lot of people love any of her endings. I like one of them. I'm not going to go into detail about it, but I do like one of them just because I think it opens up the floor for more adventures, but I understand why some people don't love the the reason for going on more adventures. But I do absolutely adore Carlock. I think she is one of the best personalities in the game. She's faced with such horrible odds, but she always has this good pep about her. And she's kind of got like a bloodthirst, but healthy, if that makes sense. Like, you see so many barbarian characters in anything where it is either have to go like subvert the trope where it's this petite girl who is a barbarian but she's cutesy and fun, and I do love that. I do love subverting the trope, or they go with the trope where it's just, you know, big bulky man who's or big bulky woman just angry, wants to kill everything. She is somehow this perfect combination of cute and funny and like cheerful and peppy, but also like wanting to take a fight. Like, she kind of reminds me of Iron Bull from Dragon Age a little bit, but a little bit more on the like cheerful side. But that same like Iron Bull getting hype about fighting dragons, like that same kind of vibe. I think it's so cool. And she fangirls over both Minsk and Jaheira, which is another great thing. So Carlock is gonna go middle of God tier right now. This might be, because I know there are some defenders out here. I do not like Lae'zel. I don't. I'm sorry. I understand that, like, as you play through, and I do have her right now, like, I'm playing through and working on her story in this one. I barely even spoke to her in my original playthrough. The thing about Lae'zel, though, is I understand that, like, she has a great redemption arc. My buddy's actually saying her romance might be his favorite like romance storyline of the game, and it's not his go-to romance character. However, that's actually Spencerian. Shout out to my buddy Spencerian. Follow him on Twitter and Twitch. But my thing with Lae'zel is, out the gate, she was still awful. She was just mean, and I don't tolerate bullies. I never have, I never will. I think that's why Asterion is ranking at where he's at as well, because it's that manipulativeness that I don't like it. And as cool, and as much as I actually am getting to enjoy her, like her character a little bit more, she will always be that awful woman who basically forced me through the Nautiloid with her. I don't like her. And maybe, who knows, maybe once I finish this playthrough, I'll have a whole new appreciation for her. But I think I'll have a new appreciation for her, but I think she'll stay. If anything, she would maybe go to the bottom of super okay, but Lae'zel's just so mean. She's just... And then once you get Carlock or Halsin, you have no need for her, personally, in my opinion, at least. So, yeah. Now we have Minsk, who I am surprisingly putting at the bottom of God tier. I love Minsk. He is the definition of a himbo. Like that, like super like dumb, but like super sweet and hot buff, just muscle guy who is just, first of all, for a ranger, never expected them to give us this like beefy ranger man. I love it though. Although I think I'm going to multi-class him in my playthrough as like a fighter or something, because he just does not give me ranger vibes. However, I really love just him as a character, and he's so like they got that respectful, the himbo respectfulness, the sweetness to him, and so I absolutely adore Minsk, and he gives us Boo, who, as you guys know, I also adore. He's also just a great character. Like his story, it's just such a shame he comes so late. It's not till you have to get into Act 3, and that's when you kind of start his stuff. But yeah. Now we move on to somebody who I didn't know was like a companion until like I was on my like third run through, and I'm still in that run through actually with my cousin Cody. And we're evil bitches. That's what we're doing. We're trying to take over. We're trying to be the cult, basically. We're leaning into everything. She is a companion almost, I believe, exclusively for an evil run through. You have to choose to... This is really early on, so I don't feel bad saying this. You can side with the cult and the goblins and raid the grove and decimate the grove. That, I believe, is the only way to get her as a companion. And I hate her. I don't like her personality. She's very awful, sociopathic. She was great she's great for my Dark Urge run and my evil and my just kind of generally evil run. But she's just a disgusting person. And once again, I'm sure she has a story arc, but like just what you have to do to recruit her puts her in unredeemable in my eyes. That's how it is. Next we have what is his name? I think it's Omemli. It's the friendly, the friendly, what's it called? Mind Flayer, Illithid. I'm gonna put him at the top of super okay. I'm actually gonna put him at decent. Isabelle's going to the top super okay. So I like him a lot. I kind of wish he was a main like partner, because he is really cool. I didn't put the damn. You know what? No. But he is really cool because he is a out in the wild friendly Illithid, and I think that is such a unique thing, especially in this game. Something I wasn't expecting. I do really like him as a character. He is crucial to, I won't go into it, but there is a quest surrounding a place called the Iron Throne. He is crucial to that. And I really do love him as a character. And I wish he got more screen time. Because you meet him first in Act 1 in the Underdark, and then you don't see him again till like, I'd say middle of the way of Act 3. And it's just not enough time with him. I really like him as a character. Next, Owlbear Cub. Once again, loose. Another one that's a loose companion. He can't even be summoned or is ever really in a fight. I think I'm wrong there, but I'm not going to get into that. I'm going to put him in. I'm going to put him in decent, at the top of decent, only because, and this is such a dumb reason, but it genuinely bugs me. He doesn't have a real name. He's just Owlbear Cub. Even when you speak to him, like with animal speak, it's just Owlbear Cub. But his relationship with our next character is so great. And it's Scratch, who's going to the top of my list, because Scratch is the goodest of boys. I love Scratch so much. Scratch is just such an adorable character. And honestly, Minsk is getting put down to decent above Owlbear. I love Scratch so much. He is one of the, anytime I start a new playthrough, he's like the first thing I go and do. I go and get Scratch because I need Scratch. I adore him. His relationship with the Owlbear Cub literally like takes the Owlbear Cub like under his wing, which is ironic and funny, and like they become besties, and it's just so cute. And he's just such a cool character, especially if you have animal speak. Anybody who's like just starting or hasn't really gotten into Baldur's Gate 3 yet, animal speak is probably one of the most important powers to have, because it really does open up new storylines that you never would have known about. It's wild. Next we have Shadowheart, who I'm going to put at the end of God tier because, and I can't get into details about it, which this sucks because like a big part of Shadowheart and why I love her so much is some of the very spoiler heavy stuff that happens in her storyline. She is such a good character. She has, and pardon my French, Andrew, you'll have to probably bleep this or whatever, but that little ponytail, oh my god. Like every time she talks, she's like, absolutely not. And then the ponytail does like its own thing. And I love it so much. I am obsessed with Shadowheart. 110%. I love her. She kind of teeters with Gail. She is below Gail though. Because as much as I love her, I haven't really wanted to romance her. My cousin Cody's romanced her 4 different times now in all of his campaigns. If he can romance her, he will. Next we have Volo. He's going into meh. I actually kind of hate Volo, but not Minthara levels. He's another one though that I feel like we missed an opportunity to have a bard on the team, because he's another bard, but he's useless and he's dumb and he's a liar and the only good thing about him, and this is spoiler I guess, but like if he offers to like try to look at and like remove the tadpole, let him do it, because it's very funny, because he straight up takes out your eye by accident. And then you get a prosthetic eye, and the prosthetic eye lets you see invisibility within 5 meters, which is a super useful thing. I absolutely love him. So I don't love him. I hate him, but I love what he gives, which is why he's in meh and not the things I hate it. Omemulan's gonna go down to super okay. Sorry. Okay, so next, we're gonna talk about my boy Withers. I love Withers, and I wasn't expecting to. So for those of you that don't fully know, Withers is I think he's called a lich or a lich. Basically, he is an undead being that is allegedly from different worlds altogether. But he is the person he stays in your camp, and he helps you respec and reclass any characters you want. And he can also summon he can also bring your characters back from the dead, or bring people back from the dead. They're like these, basically like these swords for hire in a way, but they're other true souls that died, and he is able to basically bend the weave and magic around him to bring them back as kind of a husk of who they are. They don't have their old personalities, they just have their abilities, and he controls them with his magic. But he's super sweet. There's actually a really cool exchange that he has with a character, Arabella, which she is a character that you find, a little tiefling girl that goes through some stuff, but he is kind of fundamental in helping her grow and figure out what she wants to do and where she needs to go. So he's actually really cool in that sense, and I really love that. That was a touching scene for me. This one may honestly be my most controversial one, our final one. It's Will. I'm putting him above, I'm gonna put him at the top of Meh, because I do like him more than Lae'zel. I'm just bored with him. Like, I feel like Mizora honestly would have been a more interesting pick for a companion, because I mean, she's a full-on devil. The only thing is that Will is just, I want to love him. He's very attractive, but he's just so boring. And a good portion of the primary story has to do with Will, and I just wish I liked him more. I really do, because warlocks are such an interesting concept. But I'm just so bored of him. I never have him on my team unless I need to for story purposes, because I will do that if I feel like a story, even though you don't technically have to, if I feel like a story would require their presence, or it has to do with them, they're going to be on my team. I'm going to swap out. It's usually my 4th slot, which is usually Halsin / Carlock, but like, for instance, I'm running through the Gauntlet of Shar. For those of you who know what that is, you know what that is. And I have my party as me, Halsin, Astarion, and Shadowheart. So it's really usually Halsin or Gail that gets swapped out, because Shadowheart is my healing goddess. But I just wish Will was more interesting. I'm just bored of him. And I don't know what it. I don't think it's the voice actor, because I love his voice acting. I really don't know what it is about Will. I think there's just so many other strong personalities that he kind of got drowned out. He was like, his story is interesting, but he himself isn't, if that makes sense. But he's an overall okay character. I just not that into it. That's my list though. So quick recap. In God tier, we have Scratch, the goodest boy, Daddy Halsin, Mommy Carlock, Gail, and Shadowheart. In Decent, we have Minsk, Owlbear Cub, Jaheira, Boo, and Alfira. And then in Super Okay, we have Omemulan, Isabelle, Astarion, Dame Aelin, and Withers. I am actually going to put Withers above Dame Aelin, because I don't know. And then in Meh, we have Will / Mizora, I guess. Honestly, Mizora would probably be in Super Okay, because she's really cool and hot. Then we have Lae'zel and Volo, and then Thanks I Hate It, we have the sadistic Minthara. I know there were some characters I missed. I even thought of some while we were doing this, but you know what? This is what we're doing, and we're living with it. So thank you guys so much for watching. This is our tier list, though. So as always, if you guys enjoy, my content or this video specifically, please like, subscribe, and comment. Also, feel free to check out my TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram, which are all listed in the description below. I am planning on getting some new TikToks. My editor is actually gonna work with me to set up something on OBS that'll make it even easier for him to grab TikTok footage. But beneath those links, you will find a link invite to the Discord channel, so feel free to hop on in and join the 282. But thanks again, everybody. Try to do this a little bit low key now that I'm kind of trying to work my way back in. So anybody who watched this, I really appreciate it. But yeah, thanks again, guys, and I will see y'all in the next video. Bye. Oh, it's good to be back. I miss doing this. Also, go to hell, Lae'zel. I just don't like Lae'zel. It's what it is.